Hello and welcome to episode 33 of the XrmToolCast. In this episode, Jonas and I speak to Carl Cookson, creator of not one, not two, but three XrmToolBox Tools. So we cover each and every one, including the org settings tool updater, the ERD Visio builder, and his brand new tool, the Makaru Data Bunger. This final tool will be a game changer for anyone that's having to create demos and needs to create demo data. It's amazing. So, let's get started. Hello and welcome to the XrmToolCast. Me, your host, Daryl, always raising the bar, and Jonas, 2.5 sheets to the wind rap. Jonas, how are we doing?
It's great, thank you. Yeah, love the sheets to the wind reference there.
Yeah, you said you got to experience where that came from, or nearly experience where that came from.
Well, we had this party the other week, outdoors, proper social distancing and everything, and my cousin's wife, who's from California, well, she wanted to know about the Swedish word for being drunk in different ways.
Okay.
And it turns out we had like a gazillion of them. Like the Eskimos have a gazillion words for snow, we have them for being drunk. And she had like three expressions, and one of them was three sheets to the wind. I was like, she had no idea what it meant, but since we own a sailing boat together, I looked it up, and it was really a good expression. If you don't know what it means, look it up. It's on the interwebs.
Okay. All right. So I was assuming in your boating experiences that you had like 2.5 sheets or almost 3 sheets to the wind unpurposefully, and you were having some issues. But no,
no,
you just,
never purposefully. It's always by chance.
Okay. All right. So just want to make sure I don't need to mail you like a life preserver or something.
Oh, no, I'm good.
Okay. All right, cool. All right. So we have a guest this week that I have not had the pleasure of meeting, but I believe you have, Jonas. So why don't you go ahead and introduce our guest?
Well, our guest today has reasonably recently dived into the world of creating XrmToolBox Tools. And it's a guy last time I met him was Scottish Summit 2020 in Glasgow. So, Carl Cookson, welcome to the show.
Hi, thanks. Hi, both.
How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Yeah, great.
And where are you from, Carl?
I'm in the UK, Northern
Okay,
England,
okay.
and I live just outside of London now, in a town called Farnborough, for those that are interested. So I work for a company in London that do CRM implementations, etc. So I used to do a lot of commuting into London, but obviously not anymore.
So you came on the show since you have now 2.8 tools in the XrmToolBox. I know the third one has been submitted and it's just waiting approval from Tanguy, who's on vacation. So maybe one of us could have a look.
What a slacker, man.
Indeed, he is. Don't get him on the show again. By the way. So you want to tell us a bit about, I think we should start with sort of how you came into this sphere of creating XrmToolBox Tools. What was the need you saw and the void that needed to be filled?
The need was a need in myself, really. It was, it's been bubbling that, especially the first one, that there wasn't a solution-free way of creating or updating org settings, which is the key for any Dynamics. When you get into enterprise clients, Dynamics 365, that we tend to have a very different way of using email specifically and other bits and pieces that we can update a load of org settings, which are hidden settings that Microsoft make semi-difficult to update, which affect the email tracking and the email how you see emails within the system to the syncing, and it's been because of the clients I've been working with. Org settings have been near and dear to my heart, really, and last year I tried to create a version of the tool using Power Apps, which I struggled with only on the deployment because you needed a custom connector.
So it was a Canvas app.
Yeah, it was a Canvas app that was using a custom connector to get that data in and out, which was difficult to deploy. So it wasn't a one-stop solution.
Okay,
And
so
then,
this sounds a lot like I think it's open source project by Sean McNellis at Microsoft, PFG.
yeah.
So he created one that's the solution that you import, but with this tool now, can you do, is it on parity with that tool, but you do it from XrmToolBox or?
Yeah, I think it is on parity. Sean might have a different opinion on that. Well, I do rely on Sean's code. The XML file that he produces, which tells me what the settings are and what can be configured, is actually being imported as you use my solution, because he is the horse's mouth, effectively,
Yeah.
working
So
at
he's
Microsoft.
maintaining that file, and
Yeah,
so is that file loaded every time you start the tool in XrmToolBox?
yeah, yeah.
Okay,
So it's
so
an
it's
XML configuration. Yeah,
oh yeah, that's nice to have it like dynamic and generic like that, so that well, when he finds a new setting, you can use it in this tool as well.
Yeah. And
yeah.
that's packaged with it, or are you downloading that?
No, I'm downloading it from the
Okay.
GitHub source. Every time it basically goes and gets to the latest version, and it's doing that with a file of mine as well. But the org settings, like last year, I documented a lot of the org settings because the documentation on some of them is very slim, should I say, to be polite, and trying to get a real, showing you with the setting on and off and images. So I blogged about that previously. So I've tried to combine that into the tool, that I've got some of the settings that are there and displaying screenshots and whatever else that I've done within my blog within the tool. So there is Sean's version of what the setting does, which is probably the Microsoft version, and my version with a lot of these settings where I've complemented that with some screenshots.
Okay.
I
So
I always like
just
tools. I
you
always like
like
tools
tools?
that.
Yeah, I like
Yes, I
tools.
like tools. I like
Yeah.
tools. Jeez, come on, Joseph. Okay, so I always like tools that don't require me to have an extra login stored somewhere, and so the fact that that's thrown into the Xrm toolbox is great. It's great. Just even if it does nothing better, if it at least keeps
No,
track of I don't have to enter my credentials again. Like that's a major plus. But I want to step back just a little bit for our listeners as far as the org settings. So like the way back in the day, this was like a separate um, file I think that existed is it in the registry or is it on the actual
yeah,
actual
it
database?
was in the registry originally
Yeah, it was in the registry.
on your on-prem solution. It was part of that, and they moved
Yeah,
that to the database.
yeah,
But it's configured as an XML within the org record.
yeah. So you can't just access it through a normal like create or update, or you can't. It's
No,
not like an empty.
exactly.
You
You
just
have
go in.
to.
It's all like hidden behind stuff, and you have to go through this API in order to be able to update it. That.
Yeah, you have to get the XML that's already there, and then
Mm,
add a field or record to that, and then put it back. So that's
okay.
what
So
my code
are
does.
all the settings just in one big XML blob
Correct.
in this? So you use basically one API call to update it. It's not like different API calls for the different settings.
No, it's just one. So the tool is just combining those settings into an XML and pushing that back to the org setting record.
So this is basically a tool that's visualizing an XML of some predefined format. I kind of recognize that sort of concept. Hmm.
Yes,
Yeah. All right.
yes.
Okay. And I mean, to me, it's you kind of get the feeling these are settings that you cannot change. There's no UI for it. There's some partially documented XML blob in there that you update. I mean, it sounds like it's not really supported or intended to be done this way. Or, I mean, why would
It certainly
Microsoft
is.
release a lot of configurability that you cannot access unless you write code for it and know your XML?
It certainly is a supported way, but it tends to be because Microsoft support have told you that you need to do this, or
Yeah.
you've come into a problem, and it's normally part of their routine about, oh, there's this setting that's hidden that if you don't want to have your contacts created when you sync up an email, then you can have this flag that we've done for certain users, but they haven't had the requirement and the need for putting that into a web page for you to configure yourself.
Yeah.
So have you? I know when I've had support requests or tickets with Microsoft, at some point they direct you to the org settings solution from Sean McNally.
Correct.
Have you? Are you lobbying that they should encourage people to use your tool instead?
Um, yeah, we have already discussed this, Jonas, but blow my own trumpet is not something that I like to do. I think um, we should be encouraging, a different way of looking at it. We've certainly got um, the no solution part of this is high up in my reasonings because you don't want to put an extra solution into production just to tweak a setting and have to take it out again, and that sort of thing. So it is, it's not for me to say whether
No,
Microsoft
of course.
think my solution is there or thereabouts, but I just let others do that shouting for me if needed.
So you touched upon it there. You don't want to put the solution in production. So this also means that all these settings, they are not solution aware. So you cannot change it in development and just deploy it to production. You have to actually
Correct.
flip the switch in production as
Correct, because
well.
that org setting table is never something you take around with you because it's configured to your organization, your tenant, and your
You know if
environment.
it's data? I mean, could you read it using Fetch XML or something, or is it
Yeah,
only
it's
through
it's
this
there.
special tool?
Yeah, you certainly can read it with Fetch
Okay.
XML.
Okay.
Um, it's just that formatting of the XML back.
Mm.
So and knowing what the settings are and what all the flags are, that's the
Yeah.
key there.
Yeah. So have you
So I'm
had
sure.
any communication with Sean McNally around this or anyone else, or has it been just browsing through his repository and trying to figure it out that way?
Um, no, the original tool that Sean's code is open source, so I did reach out to him previously to talk it through with him, but there's not been any communication since this has been released. Apart from making sure that he knows that not to get rid of his tool because I need that file.
And keep that XML file updated.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. Awesome. Have you got any feedback from people who are using it?
Well, this is the other thing that I love is the app insights to see a map
Mhm.
and see people across the globe using that and the other tools that I've got. It really has been quite a positive experience for me to get that feedback and to know I don't know what it is nowadays. 131 people have updated their org settings using it in the last couple of months.
Mhm.
You got
So,
2,600 downloads of it.
well, yeah,
Yeah.
and I'm sort of tracking within the app insights various bits around what's happening with it.
Are you
So,
using kind of the same style of App Insight tracking as I don't know if the way I'm doing it in my tools, or did
yeah,
you
I
get
just copied
something
your code.
from? You did. Okay. You're welcome. That's what open
Yeah,
source
no,
is for.
that's open source.
Yep.
I just basically piggybacked on yours,
Yeah.
got my own key, and gone from there. And
Okay. So you
I
created
love,
your own reports and so on from it?
yeah, yeah, and published them on my site as
Oh,
well. So they're there, very much a copy of yours.
you're
Because
welcome.
I'm not that creative. I'll fix problems, but thinking of artistically or anything like that is never my strong suit.
Yeah.
So what do you do with your Power BI reports? Like what do you with your data? What do you publish? What information are you looking at? Just where they're using it, how often they're using it, or are you looking at like all the settings that they're using, or
Yeah,
um,
the other one is to keep me honest with documenting the org settings because there's to get that other file, the XML, my own version of the XML has been time consuming. So I'm logging what settings are not coming up when they click on. There's a tab within my application that shows my version of the documentation, my version of what it's for. So if that's not populated, then I get told about that. So it's just saying, well, you haven't got haven't documented this setting, and that tells me about
So
new ones as well. So when
you have like a UI for it, and if it doesn't show up, if you're you know any UI setting for that value, then you get a message saying, hey, you haven't implemented this setting.
yeah,
This user hasn't. Yep, that makes
and at
sense.
the moment there is an awful lot of them because I haven't had time to put the ones that I know about and the ones that I've already documented into that XML format.
Okay.
But in the long term, it's meant to be it's something that will tell me when something new comes along so that I can go away and do some research and work out what it's for and document it both on my blog and within that XML file.
I can see in front of me here 131 org settings updated.
Yeah.
I found your report.
Good. Different colors, but the same logic as yours.
Yeah, I kind of recognize the style in it. So, anything else you want to say about this org settings tool, or should we move on to the next one?
No, I don't think so. This was my first foray into the XRM toolbox. I think I
So,
probably would have done it differently
yeah, well,
again.
you always want to change your,
Yeah,
I mean, refactor
exactly.
your code. So, but what were your initial experiences of just creating a tool?
My background before CRM was a different CRM, Pivotal CRM, and that relies heavily, what it did, on a Windows Forms application using different frameworks, but simply Windows Forms. So it really was a hark back to that functionality, and the same sort of lots of Googling to work out how things work, and a lot of head scratching about conversions and casting and that sort of thing that really
Yeah.
takes me back to my WinApp days.
Yeah.
And
Isn't it
thankfully,
wonderful, the wind farm world?
it, yeah, it has its
With
it
the
has its
gray
good days and its bad
backgrounds.
days, I must admit. Uh, when you're fighting with grid views and that sort of thing, but and knowing that yourself and others have made tools that I should have been using straight from the get-go, certainly would make my life a lot easier, I think. But yeah, it's certainly something that I'm still going to update and can configure. I'm going to try and add some saving and maybe comparing systems and that sort of thing to it. But at the moment, it's sort of taking a back burner to the others.
So just a final question for the org settings tool. Is there a revert everything, go back to default? Because I know, I mean, the first thing that happens is that you mess something up.
Um, Depending on what the default is, the default changes. It tends to change on the big releases.
Oh,
Um, the new using the new email interface was added. I think that's pretty much a default setting on new environments, but it's something you can toggle off, but it's toggled on by default effectively. Um, so they do change what the
all right.
default is.
Okay.
Um, but yeah, there are a lot of caveats in that tool that, and it's the same with Sean's tool. To be fair, that no one's responsible if you mess it up.
No, no.
Um,
There has to be a huge disclaimer somewhere
yeah,
when you're
there
using it.
is,
Yeah.
thankfully. It is. You can cause pain if you mess up a setting.
So since you're not going to be one to toot your own horn here, I'll see if I can do a little bit for you here. So what is like the number 1 or 2 or 3 settings that you see people using or should be using or don't know about, and if they would use the tool, they, oh, this would be great. Like what's something that they could really sink their teeth into?
I can't remember the names offhand, but there's a lot of configuration around email. So if you are using the Outlook synchronization to bringing emails into your system, there's a lot of configuration around that to whether by default, if you are creating contacts as you bring in emails, what to do with uh, appointments, whether they can be cancelled or not by the main application and sync back. Really is an awful lot around email that if you're using that seriously and it's not quite doing it out of the box for you, that you need to have a look at all around email. And that's the one, most of the settings around email. The rest of them are tweaks to the display of other things in your system or the abilities.
Okay, so I have to say that you put the Microsoft description as the default description, and when I look at, for example, security setting for email, I see 4 lines. But when yours, you've got like 6 paragraphs.
Yeah.
And so, maybe you should put yours first. Just saying. Maybe, if you're going to put the effort into it, you might as well let people see that a little bit quicker. Just saying. So, all right. So that is the org setting tool for the XRM Toolbox. What's the other tool we got out there?
The other one is a Visio builder for your entity relationship diagrams. So as a consultant, usually the very last thing you do, even after you've done the testing, is to document what you've done. And
No, you
tends
always
to
start with the
be
documentation, right?
yeah, okay. You obviously work for different organizations.
In theory.
In theory, yeah. So
You guys
the
test
idea,
your stuff? I'm always perfect. It just works for me. So,
it's not about testing; it's about documenting. So,
but you see, you do after you get done testing is what you say.
Okay.
so the idea being that we have, back in when I was taught how to do tables and third normal form and all that sort of thing, you had to document all your table structures, all the links between, and what you've delivered to the client and all those relationships between, which tended up to being a Visio diagram, and because that was the tool that was available and ready, and it's been a bane of mine for a long time that there wasn't a Microsoft way of doing that automatically. There wasn't a way that you could just say transpose this table structure that you know everything about to a diagram that I can then put into a delivery pack or a presentation or whatever else it was. You always ended up drawing boxes and lines, and that's the premise that that was the tool that really I wanted to get done first, but I thought would be more challenging than the org settings, and therefore came second. And that was only because I found on GitHub a repository that was making Visio diagrams without needing Visio installed. So
All right.
this server library that someone in Microsoft has created is the basis for that. So it uses that as it reads, asks you what entities you want to create to document, whether you want one to many, many to one, or vice versa, or in between, or just the tables between the tables that you selected, and creates that Visio for you.
And that's I think it's just awesome. I mean, we've all been looking for that, and I know at some point, I don't know if it's still there. There is something from Microsoft doing this, but I think it's not configurable at all.
Yeah, there's a command line utility that Microsoft has done,
Yeah.
which I'm not sure whether it's creating VDX files, which is the old version, which is what I'm creating, or the newer versions. But yeah, it's not configurable. It doesn't give you that user interface that people probably want. So yeah, so that's effectively what that tool does and why it's there. It's another one that all these tools help me, and it's making my life easier, if nothing else, and hopefully it'll make other people's lives easier.
And as we've come back to so many times on the show, that's the main driver behind these tools. It helps me, and then well, if anyone else is happy, more happy from using it, then that's nice. But,
so, is there an advantage to using Visio over just the other one or two entity diagram creators in the XRM Toolbox already? Like those are like just images. So are you planning to like edit it afterwards in Visio, or what special magic does Visio hold for you?
Well, only because for me it's a tool that is pretty common. It's part of the Office suite, etc. Okay, it's a separate license to that, but it's something that every consultancy that I've worked with is like the standard tool set that you get for creating diagrams of this, that, and the other, where PowerPoint doesn't quite cut it, and documenting other processes, etc. So for me, it's the perfect place to be, to just try and get these tools available, and they are editable. I'm not doing anything to them that is not what you asked for. So there's no full list of attributes and that sort of thing. So if you want to add that, you can. You can rearrange them, which is probably is going to be needed in some circumstances to make sure that you've got the key entities front and center rather than being on the edges. But yeah, it's something that just makes it easier for me.
And I totally agree, and I just did it with my Rocket solution, and I get my entities and the relationships there. One thing I think it's using one form of, I don't know what it's called, UML or whatever, the notation there with what the relationships looks like and so on. Is that something that you have selected when you wrote the tool that it should look like this, or is it just the way this library works?
That is the out-of-the-box shape. That I haven't changed the colors on any of that, but you can.
Yeah.
So
And like how the sort of what do you call it? The forks and the different endings of the relationships and so on.
yeah, the crow's foot notation is definitely something I chose deliberately,
Okay.
because that's the standard. Well, crow's foot notation is the one I know.
Yeah.
There are others that I know about, so it may be a future enhancement to get those in there as well.
I love the humbleness of it. First, you started out with that's the standard, and then you back to it's like, oh, that's what I'm comfortable with. That's what I know. So most of the times I just assume that what I think is the standard is the standard. But no, you had to correct yourself there. So yeah, are you sure you aren't Swedish? Because I heard that's a very
Well,
Swedish thing, right, Jonas?
we have already concluded that we have some sort of same type of blood there. I think it's after the Vikings. They sort of put all the Scandinavian blood over there, and we're all very humble and modest.
Yeah.
So
Cool.
I know, of course, I recognize this this type of tool since I created one myself, the UML diagram creator. But my tool just creates a text file, which is plant UML, and you have to have some extension to actually generate something graphical from it, or a picture of the relationships. Um, I mean, of course, this is a lot better. You get it straight into Visio. You can continue working with it there. Do you see, I mean, there are different ways of selecting what entities and so on you want to include. Is it on the roadmaps to make it possible to select, to include the attributes and so on?
Yeah,
Or where do you see this going? Because I would just want your generate Visio part of this tool and put it in mine.
Yeah, well, I think to say that I've got a roadmap is probably pretty generous.
No,
It's
now you're too humble.
it is. I've had requests through GitHub, and for saving the configuration, which I've done recently, and bits and pieces around that and the search, but yeah, I think it's coming to a point where we should be, because the more you use and you develop in the XRM toolkit, you realize how powerful the stuff that you've done and others have done, that we should be not reproducing that. We should be leveraging that the same ways you've opened up the Fetch XML builder to allow data to be used in other applications within there. It's something that, if my time again, and knowing you like I know you now, that we probably should be doing it together. But for me, it was a child project, and it will still be a child project that I just wanted to get it out and see that I could do it, rather than start thinking about, because when I look at your code, for instance, I'm still in awe of the complexity in my head, because this isn't my day job. It's something that I used to do 5 or 6 years ago, but the idea, the way that some of the code is, and understanding that, I'd be too afraid to break it.
It's always
That sounds
the
like
case
it's
that
not well structured.
no, and it's always the case. Someone else's code is always complex.
Yeah, no, I agree on that.
That's,
But my mind doesn't quite work the same way as yours. I think it's just getting a bit too old in the tooth and too far away from my day job is not development anymore.
I wouldn't say that. But I would really encourage you because we have seen quite a few tools being released in a sort of version 0.9 and then abandoned. So I would really, and this is a really good tool. We definitely need this, and I'm sure once you fix the feedback link from the menu, so it actually goes to a repository, then you will get a lot of issues with requests for improvements. Because I just tried it. I just tried it to get to your GitHub repository, and I think you have a sorry, yeah, I think you probably changed
I did at some
the
point, yeah.
repository name or something because
It
it
should
tries to
go
read
straight
it.
through.
It
Anyway,
tries to go something with spaces in the URL and it doesn't have it. So,
ah.
well, I will submit an issue.
Yeah, can you submit a bug and then I'll have a look at it and it
Yeah,
may get fixed
if I
this year.
find the repository, I will.
Yeah.
Okay.
I love how no one in the show seems to get away without us either suggesting improvements or saying stuff is broken. So hopefully people don't run away from
Isn't
us
that
with
why
that.
we're doing this?
Well, I think so. It is, but you know,
Yeah.
it sometimes it takes maybe a little bit thicker skin. I think sometimes
Okay.
to have someone.
He's got Viking skin.
It's got Viking skin that helps. Yeah, I mean,
So I'm going back to your Power BI report of the analytics, and I'm seeing here that 75K entities have been created in your Visio diagrams.
Yeah, and 947 individual Visios, which
Yeah.
is two of the things that are tracking. So, and that is from I think it was the middle of August, July
Okay.
that started.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm quite proud of that really, and to see how many things. And yes, I know that it's a honeymoon period and people are trying it out, but as long as for me, people are saving the time to, even if they're doing 100 or 10 entities within a Visio diagrams, it saves them that time that can be done doing
And I
something
mean,
else.
I think that's also the big reward here. It's knowing that you actually help people.
Yeah,
And I mean,
and
if you look
it's
at
getting that feedback, isn't it? People
yeah,
reaching out, even if it's through GitHub to raise an issue, or LinkedIn, etc. It's like, okay, you've actually used it and you give me
yeah,
some
exactly.
honest feedback.
You can get an issue saying that it sucks, it doesn't work, but hey, he used it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
that's nice.
yeah,
And
it's
I
good.
mean, looking at the map in this report, it's been used everywhere, literally
Yeah, I've
all
got
continents. Not quite.
I quite like the latest country. So that's basically going through and working out which country appeared the last, and that
Yeah.
was Saudi Arabia today. So
Yeah.
the idea that someone in Saudi Arabia has sat down and created a Visio diagram using my tool is quite exciting.
Yeah, it is.
tons. All right, so those are the two tools, and then you've got one in the wings that you're waiting for approval on, right?
Yeah, I another
Do you want to
consultancy.
share that one, or are you
Yeah,
a little
no,
bit?
it's fine because
Okay,
I'm
okay, all
hoping
right.
by the time this gets out that Tango has come off holiday
It should.
and
It should be out there.
it should get approved. It was only very minor the things like not having a save button and that sort of thing that were needed to be fixed. But it's this tool is another bane of mine for proof of concepts and when you're a pre-sales consultant or working with a lot of demonstrations, which I do tend to do for sales insights or customer service insights, you need to produce data. And I've used in the past Mockaroo.com, which has a lot of data generation capabilities. It gives you pre-configured fields for text strings like company names, application names, drug names, anything you can think of, as well as first and last names and Chinese first names and everything else, and email addresses and postal addresses, all this sort of thing that are stuff that you would need to generate 1,000 rows to get customer service insights working. And it's a great tool for allowing you to, the email address would look like an email address. It would have the proper first name and last name as the first name and last name that you've entered. So and You can do dates in there and time frames, etc. So it really is a great tool to generate data. But what I found is that it takes time to generate that data. It then takes time to get that into a spreadsheet and time to import it into your environment. So what I thought was that I would use their API, which is available to anyone for free, combine that with a XRM toolkit, toolbox tool, which allows you to configure imports against your CDS environment. So you can say, I want, and you can say that I want 1,000 contacts. Use this first name and last name. This is their postal address. This is their email. This is their street address, etc. And configure that. Save that as a configuration within the application, and then when you need that, just rerun that data source. So it's cutting out the middleman of moving that data spreadsheet around effectively. And I know it's an open API, so it does an awful lot around. You do need a key.
I'm just trying it out. I snuck it down from Nugget just to try it, and you need the key.
You need a key, so you do need to register on Mockaroo, but that allows you to have 200 requests a day of 1,000 records per request for free.
Oh, okay.
So I've not got anywhere near that, and I've been doing quite a lot of testing. So the idea of getting even near the free tool limits are quite slim, and then they obviously the whole API is designed for testing of data, so importing, providing data of randomness to test, and you can pay a premium if you need to do that, but their free data repository is such quite a powerful tool that I've just combined that with XrmToolBox.
I think you just made like every pre-sales consultant's life like way easier, right?
Yeah, and to be fair, it's the name, the Data Munger, which is what it's called, is a throwback for Mr. Huntingford, a dear friend of all of ours probably, who does an awful lot of data manipulation, and he likes to use lots of data sets. So it's really showing what's possible on that, and a throwback for him to see the Munger word around. So anyone that can look that up, don't do it on your work PC.
Yeah. Well, while you described the tool, I created my account, I got my API key, and I imported 10 accounts from different countries and with different names. That's just that. I have to tell you, people should be looking out for this tool when it's released and published. It's super smooth to use as well. Sounds
Thank
like
you.
a commercial here, but I'm really impressed.
Thank you, Jonas.
Okay. All right, Jonas. What does he need to change? What's
I'm
broken?
gonna find it. I'm gonna find it.
Come on.
This is the one that
give
I
somebody
know.
a positive review. No one wants to hear that the world is a peachy keen place.
I know
No.
that there's problems in this tool because there's an awful lot of variables. To be able to test every option, I need to get into the test scripts, etc. for this one to make sure that I am covering a lot of the code. Certainly the way around statuses and the status and the status reasons, those combinations can be tricky to look at and manage. So, and I'm hoping to expand this into putting case resolutions in and that sort of thing. So, just generating data effectively.
That looks awesome. That looks like a really helpful tool for lots of people, including even myself. Even though I don't generally step into the pre-sales role, would definitely be times I could still be some testing. I want to have some test data out there to work with. So yeah, that's all. I like that idea. It's a great idea. Did you just decide you needed it, and so you're going to create it, or did you? I guess it was from the using Mockaroo all the time. It's like, why not?
Yeah, exactly.
The middleman.
Yeah, it's making those Mockaroo things and saving them and being able to replay them effectively, because you're always getting the same data coming back roughly. but you still want that randomness and what it gives you. So it's just cutting out that middleman and doing those imports for you through the API quick and easy, that you don't have to think about it. There's certainly going to be some error messages flying up because of the whims of the data structures within CDS, but it's something I need to work through.
So it looks like for $50 a year, you get unlimited access to Makaru. I'm wondering if maybe as a community, the community should start a little GoFundMe for $50 to pay for that, and then you just use that in your tool, and everybody's happy, huh?
I don't think
Did you check the license terms or something?
That beats it. That probably won't work.
I think the license it's you get the same amount of data per day, but you're 200 times 1,000 rows, 2 million records, is it? But you can do that in 2 million transactions with the live license, with the $50 a year license, which is the difference.
Okay.
So I don't think you'll gain very much from going pro for this particular tool.
No, that makes sense. No.
I certainly don't want to put Makaru
have a
out
tool.
business.
Now someone's going to have a tool to go through and generate your Makaru ID for you.
But like Jonas said, it's such a simple thing.
Yeah. I'm so disappointed since I am listening to you, but I can't help myself from playing with the tool now. And I found this. You can actually import data of type naughty string. And I figured, ooh, this will be interesting. But it's just really weird characters and stuff. So yeah, it could break that. It's naughty from a technical perspective, not from a linguistic perspective. That's too bad.
Or moral perspective, probably. Yeah, it's not naughty from a moral perspective.
That says more about you than it does about the tool, I think, Jonas.
Hey, I'm just being a tester here, reviewing the tool. No, but this is super. You know, if the Makaru offers like different locales, or I want Swedish names, Swedish cities, and so on, or is it English focused?
It is English focused. There is. I think there's Asian names or Chinese names in there. But with all of these things, you could provide a list of towns, etc., and it would randomly select one, or do some sort of. You could do a list of cities and provide it that, and it would take a random one from it. But the code that I've worked for has always been English spoken word based, English American, probably more than likely.
Huh. Awesome. Well, Carl, those are that's quite a range of tools. You've got one from back-end database kind of stuff, got one to generate Visio diagrams, and then you got one to mock up some data. So you kind of hit lots of different edge cases in here. So yeah, bravo to you for going through and getting that all up and running. And I'm sure by the time this goes live, everyone will be able to download the Makaru Data Munger and be able to start munging up some data for themselves. So thank you. Anything else we want to cover? Do we need to anything else you want to mention? Any other tools we should know about from you, or are we have we tapped out everything that's no longer in your day job?
Well, there's certainly ideas, but I'll keep them to myself until I get it to work, really, because it will be getting it to work will be the whether it's worth going forward with it.
All right.
Teaser.
We'll let you do that.
Cliffhanger.
Teaser. Cliffhanger. He's got more ideas. Just give him some time, people. Give him some time. So that's awesome.
We'll just turn off the recording and you can tell me all about
it. Yeah, we'll talk about that offline. It's good.
No, but you'll make me put it into your tool again. That's not allowed.
No.
Has it happened already then?
No.
Sounds like it has.
No, we've had conversations about bringing them together, the Visio diagram because obviously Jonas's selection is an awful lot better than mine will ever be. I've got to know when the master is speaking. I need to go and talk to him about it.
Well, the master is Tengi, as we all know.
Well, yes.
And he's not speaking because he's on vacation. All right.
All right. Well, Carl, is there, if people want to get a hold of you, how can they get a hold of you?
I blog at linked365.blog. I'm obviously on LinkedIn, and Twitter is the same, linked 365. And that's where everything will be if you need to get hold of me.
Awesome. And I have to say, although your name is definitely, D365, like Dynamics 365, kind of on the edge, it also makes sense not being, if they do try to change the name of the platform to something completely different next week. It still is a fairly good name, and it still has some meaning to it, linked to things. And
I just stole that from Mr. Smith, Mark Smith. His idea.
Yep.
It's what I do. I just take everybody else's ideas and make it my own, really.
That's we're all standing on shoulders of giants. I said that before. That's what we're all doing.
Definitely.
Some of us a little bit better than others, I guess.
If we're all standing on the shoulders of giants, I mean, there are no giants, so we're just standing on each other.
It's giants all the way down, Jonas.
Oh, awesome.
To mix two analogies there. So anyway, all right. So that's a good of Carl. Get his blog and on LinkedIn and Twitter. Jonas, how do our listeners get a hold of us?
Well, firstly, they find all our shows on XrmToolCast.com. And then we have an email address, slightly different, cast@XrmToolBox.com. And of course, Twitter and LinkedIn, just look for XrmToolCast.
And we actually had a really good tweet this week to someone that said that they've listened to one episode and they liked it. Now they have to listen to the rest. So if that's you, congratulations. We're glad you're here. And sorry but not sorry, right?
Sorry but not sorry.
Sorry but not sorry. All right. Carl, thanks for joining us. Thanks for sharing your tools, and we look forward to hearing about whatever, or seeing, if you don't share it until you actually got it out there, seeing what else you've got in your pipeline. So, thank you.
Thank you.
This has been the Xrm Toolcast with Jonas Rapp and Daryl Labar. If you have any questions for Jonas or I, or suggestions for future episodes, please send them to cast@XrmToolBox.com or tweet to XrmToolCast.